So I'm sure you guys been wanting to know, like, since I've been trying to do workout videos and stuff, and explain the difference between like powerlifting and bodybuilding. The thing is like when, if you really think about it, bodybuilding is more of a workout where you're building muscle groups, whereas powerlifting is just more like building strength, is how it would go. Like, think Mr. Olympia and Mr. Universe, those are bodybuilding competitions, whereas World's Strongest Man or stuff like that, for example, that is more like strongman powerlifting stuff. And like for me, I'm not necessarily a bodybuilder. I mean, I did do some bodybuilding like when I was in high school, just for the hell of it. But I've always been more like just trying to get like strong as possible in a way. And I'll try to add a little clip in this video, like showing a little progress that I made before, like I had to move a while back. And what I did was, if you look very closely at the weights in that little clip, it will show where it's two 45s on both sides and then two 25s on a barbell that's like 45 to 50 pounds or usual barbell weight. And like I was saying too, and another reason why I keep like a kettlebell right here like this, because a kettlebell can be used for like a full body workout too, like if I did ever want to do any bodybuilding stuff. But for the most part, I keep my one workout like in the garage here. I have some weights, like just a barbell and like bigger weights to use, like just pick it up off the ground and then just lift overhead. And that isn't just for shoulders, but it is like your triceps, part of your forearm and wrist a little bit, your core, not your stomach, but your core, and like a little bit of your legs too. And I think too, it also does kind of work like your traps a little bit, because like when I'm doing overhead presses, like with a lot of weight, like way over 100, definitely over 150 pounds, but I mean, the only thing is like I getting it off the ground, I wasn't doing 185. I had it on a rack because I just want to see if I could do it at all. But I am trying to work to get up to there and past that too as soon as I can. And what my dad taught me too is like, if you're a bodybuilder, like the best thing for you to do is like, if you're trying to really build muscle groups, especially, is a technique known as shocking your muscles, meaning like 1 week or a couple weeks, do like the heaviest weight you can do, and then like the next week or a couple weeks after, then do way more lighter weights, and that's called shocking your muscles. But with like powerlifting, if you're just trying to get strong, like not building muscle groups, but just trying to like just build strength, however, that is like where as heavy as possible, like where a powerlifter does only like 3 to 5 reps. And for each workout, you're doing building strength. And all you're doing is like with 3 to 5 reps per set, and then that's only like 3 to 5 sets, basically, is how it mostly works. And I don't know everything necessarily. I just try to see what information and stuff that my dad gives, because my dad, when he was younger, he was bench pressing like 315, is how in shape my dad used to be. And for me, like, I'd say I could bench about 185 is kind of what I was doing in high school, and almost 200, not quite, but almost, when I was in high school. It's just that after a while, when I had to quit doing some of that stuff. I didn't always have time, but now since I have plenty of time to get back in shape, and I'm just trying to give some pointers. And when people talk about like the cold shower stuff, I personally do it just because I feel better doing it, and sometimes it does feel like I get a little boost of energy, like to get a good workout in, but I don't always want to take 2 showers a day, just one a day. And I never did an ice bath challenge or nothing. I thought about it, but that I want to do a little more research on, like what to know about it. And since this is more of a workout video, I'm not getting into all my red pill stuff I try to do research on, but yeah, I'm just trying to give like some helpful tips like for working out and stuff. And I don't really have any secrets, just for the most part, the only workout I really only do is the overhead stuff because, and I know like other workouts are tests of pure strength or raw strength, but if you want to really get down to it, what the purest test of all raw strength, even more than like bench pressing, it really is the overhead stuff. Because that is, if you can argue it, it is kind of the hardest workout for a lot of people in general to do. I don't know why, it's just always been my favorite, and I've always just had kind of strong shoulders. And like in high school, I tried helping some of my friends like in gym class with that technique, but a lot of them always had a hard time because a lot of them didn't really quite have as strong as shoulders as I did. And like for me, it's one thing just trying to work to get to 200, like how right now off the ground I can only get to 175 at most, like off the ground and up over my head, because I'm just still working on that because it's going to take a little time, of course. But and then I try reminding people, like, if you want to know how strong, like strong men can really get, like for example, Zadrunas Savickas, 4-time world's strongest man, and like 12 times Lithuania's strongest man, 3 times Europe's strongest man, 8 times Arnold Strongman Classic. I think he was one of the first strongmen to lift a 500-pound log over his head. And when you're talking like a log press, you're not with a barbell that way, but lifting it this way, there's a big difference like between lifting it that way and then having a normal barbell. Because my dad told me when I was younger, if you can lift, I don't know, 300 or 400 pounds this way on a normal barbell, that doesn't necessarily mean you can lift it on a bar or a log lift like this. Because you have to really practice that stuff before doing it different ways too. And like when it comes to dieting, when you're on either a powerlifting or bodybuilding type of regimen, like bodybuilding, you do have to have, for the most part, like sometimes it can be a pretty strict diet, sort of, even though you do kind of have to have a pretty good sized diet and like big appetites, for how they say big guys have big appetites. But it is a little different, like with powerlifting. Like, yeah, you do have to have like a certain amount of meals a day too, yes. But the other thing too is like, for me doing powerlifting, for the most part, I personally do kind of eat what I want, like food that is more or less okay for you, even though I do have other foods that are like really good for most people, because I try to have a really good diet, and since I do technically eat really good anymore, even way more than like when I was still in high school. But like another thing too is another guy, Brian Shaw, when he made some videos, a 4-time world's strongest man champion, but he was saying too, like when you're working to build strength and stuff, number one thing is like with powerlifters, you do have to actually eat a lot of calories a day, like, and then like burning all that stuff off. Like I think with cheat days, what he was saying, and then like with your normal diet, like when you're getting used to eating really big meals and more than one meal like that a day, like 5 to 6 meals a day like that. Another thing too is like with that, and then like another way if you want to try to add more calories, if you can, like maybe just throw in like if you had an extra frozen pizza or something, but not like getting all into too many junk foods or nothing. No, but keep a normal diet, but try to, if you can, put just a little extra calories on there if you can, if possible, without overdoing it with like junk food, but just because there is a difference like with powerlifting and bodybuilding. And like for most people who think I'm in really good shape, and yeah, I guess I am, but for me, it's not exactly the same with everyone else neither. And recently, my weight, because I have been lifting a lot of weight, and when people say like when you work out a lot and how muscle and strength are more heavy than like fat, well, it's true because sure you may burn off some excess fat, but if you're gaining muscle and strength, that is gonna also give you a few more pounds if you really think about it too. And another thing too is to keep in mind when people are always saying about lose weight, get healthy, get in shape, you don't really necessarily, and this is another thing that a lot of people really don't talk about, and this is like what I try to help other people understand. You don't have to burn off all fat throughout your body. And if you really get down to it and really think about it, your body really does need a certain amount of fat, like a very small percent. And why, you may ask? Because the reason why your body does need a little bit of fat is like so that way it'll keep your body from eating like muscle tissue. And that's one thing people don't always understand. Like if your body really has no fat, then that will eat muscle tissue, and that's another reason why people will get kind of too skinny. And people don't want to really talk about it neither, but people who are too skinny can be just as unhealthy as like being for someone who's overweight. And that's another thing too, like for anyone who has watched World's Strongest Man, like with those guys who are really strong, yeah, you can have a pretty big gut, or like some guys who may be a bit heavy but still are really strong. And it's not always a bad thing. Like maybe some people can't always help it or whatever the case is, but as long as it's not affecting your health, you don't necessarily have to worry about it too much. And like another thing too is my friend was asking me like, should I quit drinking if I'm trying to get in shape? Well, the answer is no, you don't necessarily have to. For me personally, I on days I do work out, I wouldn't be, where in common sense you don't shouldn't be drinking before a workout. And like when I am finished with a workout, I don't really drink like right away after a workout neither, because you do need to kind of wait a little while. And sometimes I prefer to like wait the next day after, like on a day I don't have to work out, so that way I don't have to worry about like it screwing any like muscles or whatever up or nothing. But no, you don't have to quit drinking if you're working out. Just try to keep a good diet, keep active with it, and like just be responsible like with drinking. And another thing too is if you do drink coffee in the morning, I wouldn't really recommend drinking coffee before a workout, and I don't necessarily know why, but just that's what a lot of people told me. Like, if you do drink coffee, try waiting a little bit after, like, doing that. So then it might be a better idea then to work out. Like, if you wait a little while after, like, if you had coffee or something. But one thing to really keep in mind is yes, if you have like to use the bathroom at all, make sure you really do that before working out. I don't know why some people say, oh, that's a really bad idea to take a bathroom break and then go work out on a day you are working out, but no, that is definitely something everyone should do. If you have to use the bathroom, make sure to do that before working out and not holding in or nothing. And like people want to know like what kind of foods do I eat necessarily? Well, my diet kind of does consist of like a lot of red meat, like steak, hamburger, and I try to cook like sides with it, like mashed potatoes or like eggs. Or like when you guys see me make a lot of stuff where it's mostly sloppy Joe based, but I'm cooking other meats together with like the hunt sauce or how I do like to drink tomato juice a bit. I don't always put salt and pepper with that, but that's kind of like stuff that's really good for your testosterone if you're a man. And like, well, tomato juice is another thing too. Like for if you guys are kind of doing no fap or whatever, that will be good for down there. But and people say like too, and I know pop is pop, but that doesn't mean you have to quit doing that neither. But lately, I don't really drink it a whole lot. Like on days I do work out, I try to wait more later in the day. Like try to drink like more milk or like Gatorade. Like Gatorade, I really try to drink more while working out because they claim that is the best thing to really drink while working out. So that way, like how plain water, I've seen where that's actually can kill your electrolytes or whatever they call it. And another thing that I just learned is that if anyone likes to drink milk, that actually can hydrate you more than plain water. I don't understand the whole thing, but for me, no, I do not drink 8 glasses of water a day. And personally, I think that is too much water for your body because you really don't need 8 glasses a day. And for me, I don't drink tap water or not even like plastic bottled water. I would recommend as glass bottled spring water is your best bet. So if you're a man, you don't have to worry about no estrogen. And for people who live in Michigan, because we don't know what the hell Canada's dumping in the Great Lakes, like whatever chemicals that's causing like premature cancer in a lot of people. So if you really can, try to like get a filter like on your tap or I guess like water, like if you have a filter on your fridge to get water or if, yeah, if you put like a filter like on your sink to get all that stuff out of the water so it is just plain water safer to drink. And when people say stuff about testosterone being too high, that I don't always believe. I'm not saying it's not impossible, but the only time like your testosterone was too high, it would have to be like insanely high if I was really doing it or looked into it. Because like I see a lot of stuff like why estrogen is something that is not supposed to be in a man's body. And I'm not talking about the LGBT stuff. I'm just saying, like, if you are a guy trying to get in shape or if you're worried about like testosterone being too low, try to keep a good diet. And if you do drink milk, no soy milk because that stuff has like more estrogen than like most like soybeans and stuff. And personally, for me, I don't really eat a lot of fast food. I mean, when I was younger, I kind of did like every other week or once a week at times, but it ain't really just about being in shape. But for me, it just don't really do it for me anymore. And I don't try to piss my dad off like when he just wants to get something quick and easy sometimes, but yeah, I just don't really enjoy it a whole lot. And do I recommend beef jerky? Yeah, I kind of would recommend that. And another meat that they claim is better than like most red meat, even, is like if you can try to get like venison, because they claim that is actually one of the real healthiest meats you can get. And personally, I don't really like a lot of chicken unless I'm the one making it and I know how to make good breading with it. And I'm not saying to fry it, but I'm just giving an example. And do I recommend like weed or marijuana? Well, that's kind of tricky too. And for the most part, I don't see nothing harmful about marijuana. All I can say is if you know you can't handle this stuff, then just don't do it. If you know you're gonna act like a dumbass, like where you can't handle this stuff. And for the most part, I don't really think it does kill gains or like sets you back like with workout goals or whatever, because I don't really do it all the time. And I try to really do that more on like special occasions or like when it gets closer on the weekend, or like especially on days when I don't have to work out and I can take like a couple of days off and just relax. But like, because I would have to see more research like where it can set some people back. Like for me, it hasn't. And then again, I don't really drink a whole lot. Just like I only really drink with my dad and brother. And just know that this video is like for me to help you guys kind of understand. And like for me, my main thing is like on days I work out, I just eat, lift, cold showers, and this goes for everyone else too, not just me, but everyone should be getting plenty of sleep, because that should be for everybody for the most part. But the other thing too is that I've been seeing too, like other things that are known to kill guys' testosterone levels. Well, that's because they're not really eating right, they don't get enough sleep, and depending on like what they're eating, it could possibly have something to do with like where that food has too much estrogen in it, or like how some people where they might be known to overeat too, especially if it ain't really food that's that healthy. That can be another testosterone killer. And for some reason too, when it comes to alcohol being a testosterone killer, well, one thing that I've seen is that, because that's like if you're someone who's a real heavy drinker, but like where for some reason I've seen it's beer that can be a bigger testosterone killer than like hard alcohol, which I don't necessarily understand, but that's just what I've seen. But if you're not a heavy drinker, then you don't really have to worry about that. I'm just saying that if you do have a problem with alcohol, you really do want to try working something out so you don't have to worry about it really killing your gains or whatever. And why people say when you're really pounding down the brews, why that can give you what's known as a beer gut. Sorry, my throat was getting dry. And I know this video is kind of long, but I'm just giving a few. I just want to make sure I can make this video as helpful as possible for all my red pill brothers out there. You know, I'm not claiming to be an alpha male, nor have I ever claimed to be a sigma male. And I don't know why my friends think that I have a lot of characteristics as a sigma, because I For me, I think just because a guy with Asperger's, sure, I can be a bit introverted, but I'm not necessarily shy, and I prefer to keep to myself. And my friends do act like, oh, that is so Sigma, when I never claimed that. And all I'm trying to do is help my friends who like to watch me with good advice. And true, yes, I don't really like small talk with most people. I would rather if they could just try to get to the point when talking to me. And lastly, another tip that I can give, like one thing that I've seen too, like with certain diets, like for how protein is really good for like building muscle and also strength. I think well, all meat has protein, and that's your best way to get, well, put on protein. Like whether it's chicken, lean pork, not just any pork, beef, or yeah, like that's the best way for it. And like, say if you had 30 grams of like peanut butter protein or 30 grams of meat protein, it's not exactly the same because when people say that you don't need animal protein, well, and I'm not trying to piss off vegans, but I do not see no vegans that are healthy or that look like they're in good shape because, yes, you do need real meat. Because if you don't, then that's going to make your body really emaciated, which you don't want. And for people, and I know it's very rare, like where some people have a condition where they can't eat meat, like where their body can't have protein, that I can understand, but that's not the topic for this video. And if you guys do want me to try making more videos like how to like prep more food, like where it's still relatively healthy, but where it's gonna be really good, like taste good, but like where it's still gonna be good enough like for a workout diet or whatever, I can try working something out with my dad because he knows still more stuff about like this than I do still because he's just trying to help me out as best he can too. And I'm still not sure if I'm going to be doing a whole lot of videos where I'm showing my workout sessions like to get it in for the day. Maybe I might a little bit, but it all depends because I try to get that stuff done and over with as best I can because I don't always really have a whole lot of free time and why I haven't been able to upload much. Oh, and by the way, real quick too, Peter, if you've been watching my videos, I'm glad you've been enjoying it. I've been glad seeing you back on YouTube lately. I'm glad you liked my one profile pic. And I hope you like these videos too, just because I'm trying to give good advice out there as best I can. And personally, I don't really care for gyms that much. I know they're a good place for people to go, maybe socialize and all that, but if you've been watching all those TikTok trends and stuff where feminists at gyms are starting shit where guys are trying to avoid it, that's another reason why I don't really need no drama. Because I got everything I need at the house, and I may not be the most social person, but I can get my shit done the way I need it. And like when people say, can medication screw with guys' testosterones? Yes. I don't know all of them, but, and then again, I know there are some doctors out there that might not exactly be all that accurate about it, but you may want to do your own research too to really know about stuff that, so that way you can try finding a better solution. Like if you did actually have to take medication, but try to find whatever you really need, but try to make sure it's not going to screw with your testosterone levels. And another thing too is why I try to keep things more natural, not just for myself, but try to find other ways like so more guys can eat right, stay active and all that is because like if you are one of those guys who like to take testosterone pills or supplements, that's not always the best solution apparently because I've seen a lot of that stuff have a lot of side effects that can really be complicated for a lot of reasons. I don't know the whole thing, but I did enough research to know that some of that shit can be quite skeptical. And like personally, no, I don't take no supplements. I don't take no medication, and I am a very, very healthy guy because I do eat right and I try to keep healthy habits. And I've gotten rid of a lot of bad habits, like I quit smoking cigars back in last year, and that was one of the best things I did. And I just try to always have personal self improvement for myself. And that's another video I'll plan on doing too. But if you sat long enough through this rant, I I hope you guys enjoy this little clip that I'm gonna post at the end of this video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and feel free to like leave any comments, like leaving your opinions, or if you just want to talk, like any ideas you might have or whatever, feel free. And I'll try to do what I can, and hopefully I'll be able to respond as soon as I can. I got a lot to do. I have to get ready for bed in a minute, and I'm gonna have a long day of helping my dad make stuff to take to my brother's house on Thursday because it's about to be Thanksgiving. I hope you all have a good time with your families, and take care, everyone.